It's your boy Untitled Japan back with another episode of ATAS across time and space. We over here. Let's take off, man. We on episode 71. Feels real good to be back. I got my number one fan right there. Got my number one fan right there. Yeah, we on episode 71. It feels good. Got my co-host from Cross X Culture. I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself, even though he does not require an introduction. You already know what it is. Go ahead, hit him off, Ace.
You already know it's your boy Ace Cross Culture. Now we're doing it over on TPC Japan. We are at 71. This is crazy. Like 4 more episodes, it will be 3/4 to 100. It is crazy to think about. Well, we thank you for joining us thus far.
It feels real good to be back. I appreciate that, folks. I know that the early bird crew is also here too. But I'm just going to say, how you doing? Oh, you got your cup? This is one day I don't have my cup. I got my key.
Hey.
Extreme. I thought my number one fan on the low was going to just go ahead and just bring the cup. Because she was, she gave me the look. She was like, "You want that?" I was like, "How you know?" But she didn't do it. All right. It's all good. Put it up. Number one. Okay. We had two coming in at the same time. I saw the numbers. Yeah, we're getting up there in age. But what's up? How you doing? It's good to be back. Yes. What's up? What's going on, y'all? It feels great to be back over here on Tipsy Japan. We actually always go through our introduction, just a little check-in, see how things are for the week before we jump into disrupting the game, our listening for this week. Listening? Yeah. Or, you could be doing the
listening, reading, however you digesting it.
Either one is fine. Take a look at Scribe. Let's go down there. Let's
Scribe.
Just look down below in the description section. You can see a link right there. 2 months. What's going on? What
this right here, these locks right here, man.
Okay, for those of us who are listening on the podcast, he's touching his locks. They're getting extra long. That's why it's important, not just to listen, but to see over here on YouTube. That it's getting busy. We're getting busy.
Busy.
Getting up there in years, right? But yeah, what's going on this week, man? We gotta check in.
Woo, this week, nothing too crazy. Catching up on some work and doing that whole thing. I'm actually going to be off for a couple days this coming week.
You got some time off?
I'm not time off, but hey. I never take vacation.
You had some time off. Look at him.
But it won't be vacation, so it'll be medical. But take a few days off, do what I got to do.
Now, medical is mostly theoretical. Do you usually ascribe to Eastern medicine or Western, or do you have like your home remedies going on? How do you?
Eastern medicine, from my understanding, Eastern medicine is a lot of not necessarily home remedies, but medicine that is more so holistic in nature. Okay. Some of it sounds a little crazy to me, but some of it is proven to work. But I'm not down with like Eastern mysticism, like, breathe in this smoke and then, you'll see stars and that's how you know you're on the right path. Like that. But I try not to do 100% pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. I try to look for the issue behind what I'm experiencing. So if I have a headache, first thing I'm doing is drinking water. Second thing I'm doing is trying to eat something. Third thing, if I can do it, I take a nap. Because I know that my worst headaches come from lack of sleep. So listening to your body, knowing your body is number one. Number two is seeking medical attention. Mm-hmm. So it should never be that, I stubbed my toe and I need to go to the doctor. You should be able to bandage your toe, stop it from bleeding. Yeah. There's a small degree that you need to be able to do before seeking medical attention. I was like, okay, you know what? My toe is starting to turn blue. It's been a week. Let me get to the hospital.
Something's wrong here.
Something is amiss.
Yeah. I'm one to, that's a great body. Do you use any to help you listen to your body? Or is that mostly kind of gimmicky? How do you feel about the state of tech right now for, giving you notification about your body that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But how do you feel?
I mean, we have the Galaxy Watches.
We have the Galaxy Watches.
And
Galaxy Warriors Unite.
It's morphin' time. It's okay. So one of the big things that they introduced with the Galaxy Watch 4 was the ability to look into your sinus rhythm or if your heart is beating regularly. So if there's an arrhythmia, they can say, okay, it looks like, this and this is happening. You might want to go to a doctor. I mean, they have the disclaimer, like, this is not 100%
medical device.
Yeah. So, if it detects something, then I already know, like, okay, maybe I should head there. But knowing is one thing, but I don't think that I want tech like super, super invasive. Me being able to say, I want to do this test right now. I want to track my stress levels. I want to track my blood pressure.
The stress levels. Where's my mood right now?
Yeah.
I think there's something on there for that. I mean, do you use that type of tech, or would you if it were more accurate?
So I do the stress every once in a while. I tend to be more easygoing nowadays. It's like I've come to wrestle with knowing what I can and can't change. So that's kind of there. But
well, I'm going to pose a question to the audience as well. We might, revisit this at the end because there's a piece of tech that it doesn't gamify, health or anything, but it does kind of make it a little bit more accessible. And I feel that video games, the way that those work, make tech accessible to people, and it made it accessible to our generation. And, so if it appears on the screen, if your health data appears on the screen, you can kind of manipulate it based on, different things, then, maybe it might be a good idea if that data is reliable. I want to take a look at that in the last few minutes today. But speaking of the game, let's bring it back to today's, our current book, Disrupting the Game.
Disrupting the Game.
Filame, right? I think I'm saying it right. If I'm not, I know some people in the audience, some Haitian background, West Indians, let me know. Just, type in the phonetic pronunciation.
Phonetical? I got you. I'll type it in right now.
Filame or Fizame or, okay.
It's
Filzame.
Okay. Fizame? Oh, Filzame.
We're looking at chapter 3. Getting above waters, because I couldn't catch what the name of his town was, and I ain't want to look it up. But I wanted to extend that idea out there to getting above the waters of your original circumstances. All right. That's a question that I just kind of want to pose. First of all, this idea of staying in the hometown or moving out of the hometown. Is it necessary? Is it, how do you feel about the hometown loyalty? Do you feel loyal to your hometown? Where is your hometown? Because that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is a question for everybody, right? But how do you feel about actually residing, having your domicile be in your hometown as an adult?
As an adult, oh well, I don't live in my hometown. That's kind of how I see it. I was raised somewhere, that's what I would call it. That would be my hometown where I grew up. I know that for my father, sometimes we would be rolling around and we get back to where I grew up and he'd say, oh, we're back in your hometown, or we're back in your stomping grounds. So even him, he's from Jamaica.
Okay.
So what? Go ahead.
Well, no, I mean, like you're saying that he calls your hometown like your stomping grounds and not necessarily his.
Not his. No, definitely not. But when we went back to Jamaica, I kind of riffed on that. It's like, hey, we're back in your hometown. These are your stomping grounds, that type of thing. So as an adult, I feel like I still equate the place I grew up as my hometown, and I still compare just about everything to that with everything that my daughter is going through with school and growing up. And it's like, okay, well, when I was in school, these programs were available. Let me see if there's something like that for her. So that's just kind of where I am. What about you? I mean, I would say you're a long way from your hometown, but it depends on how you wrestle with that idea of hometown, not the buffet.
Hometown buffet. It's the old country is my buffet. You said what I did there. My old country is in the States. No. So my thing about the hometown is that recently I went back for a whole 3 weeks or so, and there was a lot of regeneration that I felt like I was getting rejuvenated, or I was just seeping my roots into my hometown, but I was really seeping it into the people that were there. Yes, we had a space. There was a space, and we love talking about time and space over here on ATAS. So but we spent some time in that space, and I got this energy back that you just don't get in other places. So I appreciate having that home to go home to, but I wonder if that's a product of the people, not necessarily the place. With Mom Duke, she went out there just before, she went on to meet the other disciples and everything on the other side, and in a way, I felt like she was getting her roots planted, or giving that last bit of love to the people who were over there, which wasn't originally the hometown. It was none of our hometown in San Diego.
Oh no, but, definitely not.
but yeah, I mean, she was having that something like a hometown experience in that space, I believe. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's so much the place or the people. Do you feel that? So if the hometown is where the people are, if it is, how do you compare your experience with the people now with the people where they are, the diaspora, I guess? Does the hometown still have the people?
No. A lot of the people I grew up with are not currently in my hometown anymore. And some of them you lose touch with, but there's still some people that I have on Instagram or on Xbox where I could, hey, what's going on? And then, hey, what's up? Let's catch up. But there's some people that, fall through the cracks. So I feel like this is also a cultural thing, because with my experience with the Mexican culture, it's more of you don't leave your hometown. You stay with your family. Everybody stays close so that if something happens, then everybody's there. Is it an if or is it a when? And do those have two different words in Spanish? I'm going to throw all three of those at the same time. There's definitely two different words for it in Spanish. Si y cuando. So si without an accent is if. Cuando is when. So I get what you're saying. Is it an eventuality, or is it planning for the worst?
Right. Which is an eventuality. The worst.
Yeah, it's gonna. The other shoe will drop sometime, right?
Murphy's waiting.
Oh no. It's. I don't know. I feel like it might be a thing of thinking something's going to happen. My parents are getting older, so let me just stay around. I personally, I'm just no, go. I'm going to tell my daughter as many times as I can, go out, go to a college that's far away from us, explore, do some travel, get a good job, get these opportunities And if something happens down the line, make sure you have a good job so that you have the money so that you can come back. But don't feel that you have to stay, with us. Like, oh no, I can't leave.
Blowback, or not blowback. Pushback.
Uh-oh.
Is that reverse psychology?
No. I want her to not be around. Because I don't want her to miss out on seeing the world. I don't want her to say, you know what, I never went to Japan because I was always up under my parents. Yeah. I don't want that to happen.
Is that because you really want her to be away?
I do. I want her to experience other cultures. I want her to experience other ways of life. I want her to grapple with things that I have taught her. And for her to say, you know what, maybe my dad wasn't right on this. Or, you know what, my dad definitely was right on this. But test it, not just take it as 100% and, oh yeah, dad's always right, therefore I can't do this or I can't do this. We have a rebellion, and then we go and mess around and find out whether it be for the best or for the worst.
So daughter, I want you to go out there and take responsibility for your own. Is that the mindset that you had when you went away to school? Or when did that show up?
So I went to school an hour and a half away from the county that I grew up in.
Oh, you're so far away.
So here's the thing. I said I fell in love with the school, but I said I'm far enough away that my parents are going to visit me every day. I have my own freedom. But I didn't have a car and I didn't have a license at that time. So I said, I'm close enough away to where if something happens, I can get back fast. And that was my rationale. I was like, okay, this is independence, but not 100%. Right. If something would have happened, I need to call Pops, hour and a half, and he knows the way. Like, he's already done it a million times. So did
your parents have to take that trip?
They took the trip, not for anything bad.
Okay.
I was part of a choir, and we had a yearly concert. So, they came up for that. They came up for when things were good. Not like, oh, we need to go get him out of the hospital, or we need to... Nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing like that.
Okay. Now, you said you fell in love with the school. I just want to make the connection back to our boy Reggie, because he was talking about leaving for school, his reach school, parents saying you got to pay for it, so it's going to be on you to pay. But then I'm also when he was earlier in life, his mom took him out of the Bronx and this situation where you had bodies,
just bodies, falling, stabbings, and
people bleeding in the hallway.
Oh boy!
But it was bad, right? So he took him out of bad circumstances and tried to give him a better chance, because the more you see these patterns around you at a young age, the more it's likely that you're just gonna think that that's all that there is, or think that you belong in that situation. That's one of the things that one of my favorite speakers, Zig Ziglar, says that he will.
Zig.
Oh, you know the Zig?
Yo, I've heard some stuff from. I need to read up on Homeboy, because I'm hearing stuff like left and right. I'm just like, yo, this dude is inspirational.
He sure is.
Heard some quotes. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig.
One of the things that he did though, is like he would buy that first class seat, even though it's like 4 times the price on a plane, because like it's positive reinforcement to himself that he belongs in first class, right?
I am worthy of.
Even if you are a peasant, if you treat yourself like a peasant, you're gonna stay a peasant. No shame to the peasants out there, but if that's not what you want, then you kind of have to change your environment sometimes. And that goes back to the school situation. Staying at home versus going to live on campus. want to live on campus, what's the situation? What are the circumstances out there?
Yeah.
To the listeners as well. Like if, when you had to choose universities, did you look at the campus? Did you look at campus life as the thing that, as one of the deciding factors? How important was that to you? The way that students interact with each other, not just the classes. Put that to you first, but that's a question for the audience.
So for me, I didn't fall in love with student life. I didn't experience anything that the college had to offer academically before being on the campus as a student, I should say. Mm-hmm. Why I fell in love with the college is because of, all right, so Adventists Unite, we have what's called camp meeting, right? Okay. So usually once or one full 10-day period in the summer, mm-hmm. you go up for Sabbath worship. Ooh. And you will have a nice morning, lunch in the afternoon, and then an afternoon service, a little break after that, and then an evening service. So you like your whole day, all of Saturday. Right?
It's not a retreat.
It is.
It is.
And
okay.
It isn't.
It feels like.
So the thing is that it's broken down into age groups. Okay. So your age group will have their what's called Sabbath school. So kind of like CCD. Then you have the main service, which is, mass or what have you, 11 o'clock service. Then you have lunch. Then you have an afternoon service, usually with your own age group. And then you'll have another break and then an evening service, usually with your own age group. So you can just go up for the Sabbath, but there are people that go up and stay for like the whole 10-day period. That's why it's called camp meeting. People go there and camp out, and they stay there. Usually there'll be shuttle buses to the local Adventist camp.
Okay.
So they'll take all the kids and then go that way.
So you saw all that before deciding to school that would be part of campus life?
All right. So here's the thing. For the Southern New England Conference, shout out Southern New England, the campground is literally like 2 blocks away from the school. So sometimes they would use the school's facilities as part of the camp meeting. So I got to see the college and some of its glory days. So I fell in love with the campus. I fell in love with the area. I fell in love with so many different aspects. So it felt more like home when I got there. So that's what I mean when I say I fell in love with the campus.
Okay. I see. So, with Reggie's situation, it sounded like he fell in love with Cornell. It's a good school to fall in love with, and he didn't Ivy League. Like, his parents didn't know what Ivy League and all that stuff was about. My dad did. He knew like American schools. That's the way. Successful. Like, you can take that degree anywhere in the world. Nobody can tell you nothing.
True.
I wasn't there personally. When I was a university student, or a high school student, I wasn't there yet. I had to do some maturing myself. But that's all part of the process too. Like, some people see university. Well, what's the purpose of school?
Ooh. I don't think that the purpose of higher education is to educate anymore. And the reason I say that is because YouTube University exists, TikTok University exists, and you have people that are getting education in practical ways and then just going off with it. But now you don't have that social interaction that is so key to boardroom meetings. Even if you make your own brand and you're like, okay, well, I got this, and if you can't present it
What are we doing?
Yeah, you know, you're not a good public speaker, or at the very least, you can't make a PowerPoint. Then I mean, like, what are you doing? there's nothing there. So I feel like the campus now is a mini. I don't want to say melting pot, a mini soup pot, because you have all these different individual things, and they all have their own flavor that they bring, but everything together is really good. But you guys say, man, I never liked carrots, but when you get to university and there's carrots around, and it's like, dang, I got carrots in my class and carrots here and carrots there. I guess I'm gonna have to wrestle with that. That's kind of how you different cultures mingling, and yeah.
So the mingling is still there. Like, university still serves that purpose. That's what the education is for, is to get you to mingle with the others, because you can find out whatever you need online. You can get yourself a pen and a pad
to wrestle with your status quo.
The status quo, to wrestle with comparing yourself to, I mean, yeah, people do compare. Like, everybody enters at the same time. It's kind of a rat race in the sense that, what can you do for these 4 years when it's time to get up out of here and say, all right, so what was done? What did you learn? Who did you meet? What relationships were built? That goes also back to something that Reggie had mentioned. Some of the skills that he had learned when preparing for his job afterwards. What's the purpose of this meeting? So what? He learned,
so what?
Exactly. He wanted to identify the purpose of what he was doing, and I mean, I'd ask them, what's the purpose? That's the banner we got.
What's the purpose?
Right now, but what has transferred? What 1 or 2 skills transferred from university that you've carried with you to this day?
Well, it's a little bit of the opposite, actually, because I feel like university instilled me with a lot of things that I took from it. But when I got back into, when I got into the real world, I realized that I had a lot of ideals, but ideals and reality are 2 different things. So I did have to wrestle a lot with the way that things, quote unquote, should be and the way that things actually are.
Right. That is part of the reality. Like, to see, I mean, this is the real world over here. It's a school over here. And okay, so you had to wrestle with that difference, or realize you had a realization. But is there something that you learned how to do in there that actually works out here?
One thing that was instilled in me, because I went to school for ministry, was the love of people. And the reason I went to school for ministry is because I saw how I saw that my youth pastor had a very profound, changed our experience in church. I'll say it that way. Changed our experience in church in such a way that we were empowered to make changes. We were empowered to do what we felt was right. And because of that, I wanted to be that for somebody else.
How did he empower you? Like, did he teach, like, help teach you guys how to think, how to process things, how to organize your ideas? Like, what figure out who you are? Like, what do you do? What do you do? Huh? He put you on the Fugees? What?
She. A woman. Not he. Yeah, so I mean, that right there is already like, because there's not a whole lot of female pastors in the Adventist church. Oh, well, there's more. It's on the rise now. But just that alone challenged everything that was the status quo.
Wow.
And yes, she helped us with organizing and getting our thoughts out and building a space that was safe for us, that we had ownership over, all that type of stuff.
Wow, kudos to her. She's still in the game.
I am not quite sure. We did lose touch for a while. I think that she was going more the teaching route. So she had a youth pastorship job at the college that I was at. Then after that, I think she went more towards a teaching route.
Okay. Well, those influences during the college years and the things that we realize during the college years can make a huge difference. It really depends if you are cognizant of it at the time. If you're ready to kind of receive everything that's coming to you, because there's so much stimulus, so many different things that are provoking you to think. You have your hormones going crazy. Those are, provoking you to action. Like who knows? But it is. College was a special experience, and just looking back now, I mean, for me, that's like decades ago.
Decades. Oh gosh.
Multiple decades. That's. But that being said, I would say that my college years taught me how to use.
Yeah,
I'm showing a pen, and I'm going to show a pad, but I could. Yeah, it's right here. It's a pen and a
pad. Hey.
Write it down. For me, it really came down to pen for the permanent things and pencil for the cognitive tasks that I might need to erase something. But having both on the page at the same time, and also having a blue pen for the like definitions or things that I have to remember. Just having those three pieces, it made a huge difference in everything.
Right.
So that's why I always say, get yourself a pen and a pad and write it down.
Hey.
If you don't decide to go with the pen and the pad route at first, you can use technology to help you organize things in a simple and easily read way. But I would recommend writing it down on paper first, and then going with the computer, because it's just sometimes it's hard to organize things on yourself on screen. If you're a very visual person, that's great. If not, you could use something like the AI systems that's out there for like prompting this week. I literally used some prompting to come up with something for something called Kudofin, and you're going to see a lot more of that over here on TPC Japan.
Okay.
Kudofin is on the way. There's an event. Check us out. You're gonna see the trailer for that this week because it's first Sunday of October.
First Sunday of October.
Yeah, that's like a week from today, right? That's yeah.
That's a week for you. For us, it's 8 days. Yeah, it's a Sunday. Definitely a Sunday. Yeah. But it's still Saturday night in the States.
Like it's some folks that's gonna meet up on Kudofin, right? Doing the Kudofin thing, and then you're gonna see the after party is gonna be over here. Oh no, it's actually gonna be over there on XXX Culture, right? All right. So I'm gonna mention it at that time, just like how things went, if you don't mind asking.
I mean, I mean, just remind me before the show so we can include that. Definitely.
We'll do. But like the symbol for it, I'm gonna put that up this week. This is like a little teaser for it, but we did put that out there using like AI. You just put in prompts, said Kudofin, like what should that look like? In fact, I wanted to ask you that last question as we wrap up. What do you think Kudofin would look like? Kudofin. I don't even know if you remember what Kudo means.
Of course I know what Kudo means.
Okay.
The heck? I don't know, because it depends on what fin is supposed to mean. Because the way that you're pronouncing it sounds like French fin, finished.
Oh, no. It's more
fin. Okay, so black fin, that's different. So I mean, a black fin. That reminds me of Avatar: The Last Airbender, when they're like he's surfing on eels, and then all of a sudden there's just like this fin just comes out of nowhere. It's like in the middle of the ocean. So that kind of not terminology, imagery is what comes to mind.
I like it. I like it. We actually should probably put something like that together. I asked the AI time and time again, and we can talk about it once the trailer comes out. But yeah, Finn, if you know what I studied back in university, then that's like a hint. It's a double entente, of course, but
of course
you'll see. You'll see.
Right.
So it's that, and lastly, just a bit about tech. The one thing I wanted to ask our audience, but yeah, my medical professional here, he hasn't responded back, so I'm not even going to, pursue that. But it's something called Muse. Did we talk about the Muse headband before?
Muse, yeah, we did. I think I had seen it just before you had talked about it, but we didn't talk about it on air.
Oh, okay, that's what it
I'm pretty sure we didn't talk about it on air.
All right. Well,
remind me again. It's the sleep thing, right?
You can use it for sleeping. You can use it while you're awake too. But it's a headband that you put on, and it's an ECG,
electrocardiogram is.
Yeah, that would be for your heart. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it's reading
to measure
your brain activity.
Ooh,
yeah, so you can see the type of waves that are going on, gamma waves and alpha and beta, and how well you're meditating or concentrating.
That's kind of crazy.
It's so tight though. Like, I don't have one yet, but I'm talking about it, I'm thinking about it, and I'm writing down, I'm taking notes about it, because it said, like, if you're meditating in your meditative state, then like you start to hear the birds chirping. Like, good job. Like, you are in like flow type state.
Zen.
Right.
You have achieved Zen.
But if you're like frustrated or you're following some kind of thought like too deeply and you're messing up, then you start to hear the rain. Right? Your mind is not calm. So you hear rain coming down.
No, that's too much.
Right.
That's too much.
But
sometimes I need to chase a thought, man. Playing games.
But that's the thing, like from a neuroscientist like perspective, I don't know. We got a neuroscientist on the way right here.
Okay.
And he's saying that, yeah, I mean, he likes the concept. So, I mean, we might be able to go out there and do a demonstration, something like that, by the time we get up to episode 100. Let me see. If there's enough interest and y'all want me to go ahead and test this thing out. Not the headband. We'll do that. All right. We will do that. All right. But I need to see the interest. All right. I'm just laying out the tracks for that first. Okay. So it's a pleasure, as always. Check the notes of whatever tech that you got is helping you out with keeping your health in check. Get yourself a pen, a pad after that, and just write it down.
Write it down.
TPC Japan telling you that that's what it is. Ace, hit them off now.
I already know. It's been episode 71 of ATAS. Make sure you get the mug.
Get the mug, guys. Get the mug.
All right. Until next time, you already know what I say. Stay prayed up. Be blessed.